Hello dear students, this is my second video or second session related to the first chapter of your 10th standard, that is resource and its development. In the previous class, I hope you people have understood the meaning of resource, and apart from that how human beings play a very important role in transforming the things, that substance that are available in the nature into a resource, and what we call as economic prosperity, or how does resource play an important role in acceleration of economic growth. So based on our previous knowledge, today we are going to continue that particular topic and we will understand the classification of resources. Okay, so why the classification of resources is very important, I will tell you. See, for the better utilization or for the better usability of any particular substance or the thing which is available in the nature, we have to classify them on different basis. Okay, so now what we have done in this particular session is resource can be classified majorly into two types. One is natural resource, another one is human resource. So human resource means who? Human resource means those persons or those human beings who are having practical economical utility. For example, there is an engineer in your home and he is earning for your betterment of the family. Then that particular person can be referred as human resource because he is having or he is adding value to your house. So that person can be referred as human resource. A teacher can be referred as human resource. An army person can be referred as human resources. Doctor can be referred as human resource. So keeping it aside for a while, we are not going to discuss about human resources elaborately. We will just concentrate in this particular video related to the natural resources. So first of all, what is the meaning of the term natural resource? See, natural resources means any substance, anything which occurs in nature, soil, water, natural vegetation, wood, all these things, they occur in nature and which is having utility or which is having some economic profitability to human beings. That is what we call as natural resources. And natural resources can be classified into further two sections. So what are that section? Renewable and non-renewable. From 5th to 6th standard, you people have been learning this concept. What is the meaning of renewable resources? What is the meaning of non-renewable resources? So, okay. So in this particular chapter, what they have done is they have explained you in detail on what basis we are going to classify. See, earlier you people have learned only what? Classification of resources, renewable and non-renewable. Give an example of renewable resources means you people were saying the fossil fuels, petroleum, iron ore, they are all examples for what? Non-renewable resources, Renewable resources means which you can regenerate. Okay, wind, solar energy and water, the wildlife, natural vegetation, all these things called as renewable resources. But in this particular what we call topic, what they have done is they have given you the basis of classification. Okay, basis means on what principles or on what foundation we people have classified the resources. Okay, there are basically 4 points or 4 bases upon which the experts have classified the resources. So first of all, we will understand these things in brief and then we will go for that one. See, natural resources, I have told the meaning. It can be further classified into 2 types. Renewable natural resources, non-renewable natural resources. So, in renewable natural resources, it can be further classified into 2 types. Renewable natural resources. I hope you have got the meaning of the term renewable. Renewable resources means which can be regenerated. Okay, that is what we call as renewable resources. Water, renewable resource. Wind energy, renewable resource. Solar, that is also renewable resources, because no matter how much you use it, the nature is going to regenerate very fastly, very swiftly. Okay, so that is what we call as renewable resources. So renewable resources into two types: continuous resources and biological resource, or you can also call it as biotic resource and abiotic resource. Sir, give an example for biotic resources, biological resources. Wildlife. It can be further classified into two types. Biological resources can be classified into two types. So what is the meaning of biological resources? Any resource which is having life, okay, which can add value to the economy or which is having utility, that is what we call as biological resources. For example, to make it very simple for you people, fish, okay. Many of you people have eaten it, and many of you people are what we call not accustomed to such kind of what we call food habit. So fish is considered as a biological resources. Why it is considered as biological resources? No matter how much you do the fishing, the nature is it has blessed upon us. It is constantly what we call reproducing. It is regenerating the fishes in the what we call ocean or in the rivers, ponds or lakes. We people earn thousands of crores. We people earn thousands of crores just by exporting the fish. That means fish can be considered as a resource. What kind of resource it is? It is a biological resource. It is renewable as well as biological, because fish is a living organism. Tree is a living organism. Natural vegetation, it is considered as living organism. Wildlife, that is also called as living organism. I hope you people have understood in a better way what is the meaning of biotic resources. Okay, any resource which is having life, okay, and which can add value to the economy. That is what we call as biological resources. Continuous resources is also called as abiotic resources. What is the example? Wind energy, solar energy, okay, and then thermal, what we call as tidal energy. So all these things called as continuous resources. Okay, biological resource can be further classified into natural vegetation and wildlife. So I hope this is very much clear for you people. Okay, continuous resources, give examples, sir. Wind, okay, water, solar, all this is termed as continuous resource. Okay, next, non-renewable resources. What is the definition of the term non-renewable? Any resource, any substance which cannot be regenerated very quickly, okay, or which takes longer period of geological times. I will give an example for it. Fossil fuels. Fossil fuels means what? The coal is an example of fossil fuel. A petroleum product that we are going to use, that is also example for fossil fuels. How fossil fuels are formed? You people might have learned your science classes. Fossil fuels are the resources which are formed due to the deep burying of what we call as organic matters under the earth for longer duration. You can't regenerate coal, or you can't generate what we call as petroleum products within 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. It is highly impossible. It is not possible. Okay. So that is the reason we have to understand which resources are renewable resources and which resources are non-renewable resources. Because if we understand these things, this classification, then we can judiciously use it. Okay, we can understand which resources we can use it for longer duration and which resources can be used for in a very limited way. So these things are very important for us. So recycle non-renewable resources, I hope you people have got the meaning. And then In non-renewable resources, what they have done? They have sub-classified recyclable and non-recyclable. Recyclable means what? The resources which are not available in the nature, but once you extracted that one from the nature and transformed it into a resource, that particular resource or substance can be recycled or it can be reused. For instance, iron ore which is available in the nature is not considered as what we call as renewable, because you can't regenerate iron ore again and again. But the metal that you have extracted from that iron ore, okay, assume that you have made a rod. You have made a rod out of that particular iron metal. After 20 years, it is going to get rust. Okay, but by using the technology, by using our brains, what we can do, we can turn or we can recycle the same what we call as bar of rod for other production purposes. So that is what we call as recyclable. So recyclable examples, give examples for recyclable non-renewable resources. Metals, they are the examples for recyclable non-renewable resources. Gold is a non-renewable resource, because once the gold is emptied, you can't what we call regenerate the gold. But if you have gold metal of your forefathers or grandmother, grandfather, you people can also use it. You can what we call transform the structure, and you can make a new designs out of the old jewelry. So that is what we call as recyclable resources. Metals are best examples for recyclable resources. I hope this is very much clear for you. So non-recyclable means fossil fuels. Fossil fuels. That is example for non-recyclable. Petroleum products. See, once they are depreciated, once they are depreciated, they can't be regenerated. Petroleum, fossil fuels and compressed natural gas. They are all examples for non-recyclable. You can't recycle it. Okay. So suppose you have poured 1 liter of what we call petrol into your bike and you have gone for a long ride. After the ride is over, do you think you can regenerate what we call as the petrol that you are using? It is highly impossible. Okay. So that is what we call as non-recyclable resources. Okay. So this is the classification of resource which has been given in your textbook, that is figure number 1.2. Clear? So now, basis of classification. On what basis we have classified the resources? I have to explain this figure, but we have to also understand this one. Origin of the resources. How the resource is originated. For example, fish. So it is a biotic component or abiotic component? It is a biotic component. Plant. It is a biotic or abiotic? It is a biotic. Minerals. It is abiotic. Okay, because it does not have any life. So, based on the origin of the resources, origin means its birth, its genesis, origin of the resources, we classify the resources into two types. One is biotic resource and abiotic resource. I have explained the meaning, and I have also written on what basis resources are classified. So on the origin of the resources can be classified into two types, biotic resources and abiotic resources. So this is very much clear for you. Okay, and then on the basis of ownership rights, who owns that particular property or who owns that particular resources? So on that basis also we have classified the resources. So to understand this thing in a very better way, I will take an example of us only. I am owning a property or a house or a piece of land or a motorcycle or gold. Okay, so that property is exclusively owned by me. No one can take their hold on my property. So that is what we call as individual resources, the resources which are owned by an individual or by a person. That resources is called as individual resources. So you may ask like this, sir, what about the farmer who is owning a piece of land? See, piece of land is also considered as a resource. For that, the farmer who is using that land is paying revenue to the government. Please understand. The farmer who is using that particular agricultural field is paying revenue to whom? To the government. That means he is the individual owner of that particular property. But if suppose, I will give an example like this. If petroleum reserve or iron ore is what we call found in that beneath the agricultural field or agricultural land, same agricultural land. Now the farmer cannot claim ownership of the oil or the resource or the iron ore which has been found beneath his what we call agricultural field. That particular resource belongs to government. The farmer can only own the upper surface and he can pay the revenue and he can use it for his personal benefits. So that is what we call as individual resources. I hope this is very much clear. Community resources. See, there are some resources which does not belong exclusively to one person. See, my home exclusively belongs to me. My motorcycle exclusively belongs to me. Okay, my gold chain, that exclusively belongs to me because individual property. Okay, but there are some resources which does not belong exclusively to one person. For example, there is a playground, okay, there is a burial ground, there is a pond, there is a lake. You can't claim ownership on these particular what we call as properties because it can be utilized or it can be used by everyone. You can use it, but you can't own it. So that is what we call as community-based resources. Examples for community-based resources, I have told you, pond is an example for community-based resource, playground is an example for community-based resource, graveyard, where we people are buried after our death, that is also an example for community-based resources. Forest, that is also community-based resources. National resources. See, what is the meaning of national resources? This is quite tricky. Why? Because technically speaking, everything it is controlled or it belongs to the nation itself. Everything, the farmer who is using the piece of land, that also technically speaking, by law speaking, that also belongs to the nation. So national resources means the resources which belong to the entire nation. Okay, the entire nation, but can be used by government for benefiting, for giving utility for the common people or citizens. That is what we call as national resources. So give some example for national resources. You might ask, see, river is a national resources. The coal which is available beneath that is also an example for national resources. The rivers is an example for national resources. What we call the other type of ore, so bauxite ore, through which we are going to extract aluminium. So the bauxite, if it is available in Chitradurga, so you can't claim it belongs to individual. So you have to say that, or you people will not be allowed to use it for your personal benefit because that particular resource or that ore is what we call as it is exclusive right of that ownership resides in the hands of whom? The government. So any resource which does not belong to single individual and the resource which is in the hands of the entire nation, which is in the hands of the government, such resource is called as national resources. National resources example is river is a national resource, forest is a national resource, natural vegetation is a national resource, the ore, the metals, all these things are called as national resources. And then international resources. What is the meaning of these international resources? To get a fair idea or an idea about this particular national and international resource is, we are going to take an example. With the help of that example, we will understand it. See, this is India. We all know that. Okay. I am going to draw a rough diagram. Okay. It is not exactly India. It is a rough diagram. Here we are having oceans. We all know that India is a peninsula, which is completely surrounded, which is three sides surrounded by water bodies. Here we are having Bay of Bengal. Here we are having Indian Ocean, and here it is Arabian Sea. Okay. See, assume that you have got oil reserves, petroleum reserves here in the interior part of India. Okay, in the land. The government of India can easily claim ownership of this particular petroleum deposits. But what happens if the same kind of deposit, petroleum deposit, oil reserves, anything, natural gas, if it is found here in the ocean body, in the water body? Okay. For that matter, there are some international rules, laws and regulations to control the ownership of the resources that is found in the ocean bodies or in the water bodies. Okay. Suppose the petroleum reserve or the oil reserve is found very nearly to India. That means 19.2 kilometers from the mainland. That what we call as resource belongs to India. If the resource is found near 19.2 kilometers from the mainland, that resource exclusively belongs to whom? Belongs to us only. That comes under national
resources. In simplest form, we can tell that the resources which does not belong to any one particular country, that is what we call as international resources. Okay. So I have explained you about the national resources. While explaining the national resources, I have told you that if the petroleum reserves are found very near to the Indian coastline, that is Indian mainland, 19.2 kilometers from the coastline, that particular petroleum reserve belongs to India. Suppose what happens if the same kind of petroleum reserves, it is found nearly far away from the Indian mainland, that is 200 kilometers away from the Indian coastal line. So such kind of resources is not owned by any one particular country. Okay. So these resources are owned by, or it is regulated by, international institutions. What are those international institutions? UN, United Nations Organization, that is an example of international what we call institution. If any country wants to explore, if America wants to explore, if America wants to extract the petroleum reserve that is found in this part of the ocean, that is 200 kilometers away from the Indian mainland, then United States of America has to take permission from United Nations Organization. So that what we call as international resources. So once again I will tell you, the resources which does not belong to any one particular country and which are regulated, which are controlled by the international institutions. like European Union, United Nations Organization. So those resources can be termed as international resources. So this region of the ocean or water body is also called as EEZ. EEZ stands for Exclusive Economic Zone. Exclusive Economic Zone. Remember this one. Okay. So we have understood what is the meaning of international resources. See now the major classification of resources on the basis of its exhaustibility. I have explained it to you in a detail. So what is the meaning of renewable and non-renewable? So I am not going to once again explain those things. The last classification of the resources is based on the status of its development. So what is the status of development here meant? Say any resource which can be utilized, for optimal level, but we people have not yet utilized it. For example, for instance, if you go to Gujarat and Rajasthan, in Gujarat in Kutch area or Kutch part, in Rajasthan it is Thar desert, we can produce 1000 megawatts of lakhs and lakhs together megawatt of electricity, but we people have not yet utilized our technology and that particular what we call as wind energy and solar energy to its peak level, to its optimal level. So that is what we call as the status of development. Okay, so based on the status of development, the resources can be further classified into 4 types. So I will clean this one and then I will explain it. Okay. So based on the status of development, resources can be further classified into 4 types. One is potential resource. Simple meaning. Potential means there is still capacity. Suppose you score 92% in your examination and your teacher will say, still you are having the potential. That means you are having capacity but you have not completely utilized it. So simple meaning, potential resources are those resources which are available in nature and we do have technology. We have the technology to harness or to use that particular resource, but we have not yet utilized it for optimal level. So that is what we call as potential resources. In textbook they have given example for potential resources. So Rajasthan and Gujarat. So they are what we call as they receive high sun rays. So major what we call season of the entire year, it receives sun rays. So if the sun rays is utilized in a better way, in an optimal way, definitely we can generate a huge quantity or huge amount of electricity. So still it is having capacity, but we have not utilized it completely. That is the meaning of the term potential resources. After that potential resources, another important resource that is another classification of resource is given is on the basis of its status of development. That is developed resource. Developed resource is easy. Developed resource means we have utilized it. We are having the technology. We have already utilized it, and the quantity and the quality of that particular resource has been already surveyed. Okay, so it is what we call as developed resources. Iron ore, it is called as what we call developed resources, and we do also know that how much quantity of iron is still available in India because we have done the survey. So that is what we call as developed resources. And the third type of resource, it is called as stock resource. Stock resource, and the fourth is referred as reserve resource. Reserve resource. See, there might be confusion for you people between the stock and the reserve. What is the meaning of stock reserve? Stock reserve means, or stock resource means, such kind of resources which are available in the nature, and we do know what is the use of that particular material or that particular thing which is available in the nature, but we people have not developed a technology. By using the technology, we can utilize the particular thing. Okay. In the textbook, they have given example of water, hydrogen, and what we call oxygen. The two molecules which is present in the water. We know that water is the combination of hydrogen and oxygen. Both are highly inflammable. We can use it for if we people are able to split it, we can create wonders. Okay. But we are not still in that particular situation where the water, by using the water we can separate hydrogen and what we call oxygen. That means any particular resource, any particular reserve which we do know the potential, we know what it can be done, but we don't have such kind of technology to utilize it for our purposes. So that is what we call as stock resource. I hope this is very much clear. See, sometimes you might get confusion. Potential resource means the resources which we know, and there is technology, there is suitable technology to utilize it, but we have not yet utilized for its optimal level, its fullest level. What happens in stock resources? Stock resource means the resources which is present in the nature, and we do know what is the importance and what we can achieve through that resource, but we have not reached to such a extent of technology where we can utilize it for our purposes. So that is the major difference between potential resource and stock resource. Developed resource means we are having that resource, we have surveyed it, and we do know the information related to that particular resource, and we are right now utilizing it. So that is what we call as developed resource. So what is the meaning of reserve resource? See, reserve resource, it is a subsection or subunit of the stock what we call as resources. See, I will give an example for this reserve resource. Reserve resource means the resources which we people keep it for the future purposes or the future what we call to satisfy the wants of the people. The water which is present in the dam. So that is the best example for what we call as reserve resource. By using that water we can generate hydroelectricity. So this is how we can classify the resources on the basis of some principles. Okay, so I will explain it once again. I will tell you once again. So on four basis, on four what we call principles, resources has been classified. One is origin of resources, biotic and abiotic. Okay. Second one is ownership rights, individual, community, national, international. Third one on exhaustibility, renewable, non-renewable, status of development, potential, developed, stock, reserve. Okay, so this might be an important question for you. So how may I ask the question? On what basis the resources are classified by the experts, or on what basis we classify the resources? Simple, you can write the answer. I hope this session is understood for you people, and we'll meet in the next session. Thank you.